Next. Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are in the greenhouse, middle of December. It is bright and sunny and pretty warm in here. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some sundews, but I'm just checking in to see how warm we are. So we're currently 23.5, 75% humidity, or 73 Fahrenheit. Not bad for, I don't know, it's about noon, I guess. But today, I wanted to talk about the Three Sisters Sundews, because I get a lot of questions on how we care for these guys. They are a little different than normal sundews, different than other sundews. I don't want to say normal sundews. Let's not group anybody into special groups here. But anyway, so we have Drosera prolifera, Drosera adelae, and Drosera schizandra, I think it's pronounced. And anyways, so we're going to just talk for a few seconds about general care, and then I'll touch base on each little one a little bit. So these guys love humidity, but they don't necessarily want to be dripping wet. You see, it was 75% humidity in here right now, and that's about normal. In the wintertime, I actually try to lower the humidity in here. In the summer, I fight to keep it high, and in the winter, on a nice day like this, I just let the humidity drop a little bit, because it's always, on the west coast here, it's always so wet and humid, so when we have a nice sunny day, I let the plants just bask in a little bit less humidity. You'll notice one big difference with these guys is the potting media, or medium they're in. It is sphagnum moss. These guys, for whatever reason, just really go nuts in the sphagnum moss compared to in a peat-based media, like a normal peat perlite or peat sand. They just don't do as well. So I have a little bit of perlite in here, a whole lot of sphagnum moss, and they just do really, really well. What else can we say? So they're getting some December sun. That's different than August sun. I have them up here, and I was going to give them some water. But for light-wise, they are a shade-loving sundew more than, let's say, capensis or some of the other ones that you can just have in, like, full light. Down on the far end of the greenhouse is where some of my other sundews are on the top row. And right now they have lights above them. These guys do not, that we're talking about. They're on a bright, sunny wall that all summer had, like, no shade cloth even on it. It was just, like, that was a hot spot down there in the summertime. These guys, on the other hand, in the summertime, they were low. They're still on the shelf, but we'll just move this tray down. They were down here, way down on the ground, trying to be cool. There was a bit of other things on top of them, just to make it so there was more shade. I even took some 80% shade cloth and draped it over here at one point, so that whole shelf was shaded completely, because what I found, the sun was coming in this door, boom, right at them, even though they were low. And I almost lost a couple. I might have even lost a couple pots on the front line. So they don't like the summer heat at all. But winter sun seems just fine. So they fluctuate between how high they are and how low they are. Again, in a greenhouse, it's going to be cooler down on the ground than it is up top. So in the summertime, they go down there. Other than humidity and some shade, they never want to dry out. That's just like normal sundews, but they don't need to be soggy either. I don't keep them sitting in water. I have them in a tray just so they can wick up a little bit of water if I over pour or whatever. But I will take my water, which I have some right here. Right now I'm using rainwater, and I will just, in this case, just wet the pot like this and just give them a little bit of water here. These guys I have found like really, really pure water. I do fertilize some of my sundews with Maxi. These ones did not do well with any kind of fertilizing at all, so I have stopped fertilizing with Maxi for these guys. So as I say, this is rainwater here. I always keep a TDS meter handy. So we're at 0. Hopefully we can see. I didn't lower the water level too much. I'm watering with 3 parts per million. They like it pretty clean. In the summertime, they will get watered with non-rain water, because we don't have rainwater in the summertime, because it goes totally drought like here for most of the summer. and then their parts per million can be up and around 50. But for the winter, for half the year minimum, I'm flushing with really clean water. What else can I tell you about these guys? So, humidity, water, lighting. Oh, you know what? One thing, I repotted all these guys this year. My plants were starting to do worse and worse. And I think the reason being was the sphagnum moss was getting old. So they do like to be repotted every few years, even if you don't think they need it, because they just weren't doing well. It was almost like, the roots were starting to go. The sphagnum maybe soured a little bit or whatever, but I had to repot everything this year in between all my other things I was doing. But they bounced back nicely from that and totally made a recovery. So let's talk a little bit about the individual species. This is prolifera. It is going to be the smallest of the species. Here's my main little pot, and I have a little hitchhiker in there. It's either Andromeda, which is a cross, which I'll talk about in a second as well, or it is schizandra. But that's about how they look. You can see flower stalks coming out right here. Insignificant little flowers. None of these guys self-pollinate. They all cross-pollinate. Unfortunately, most of them are probably the same kind of clone, so I've never even bothered to try to pollinate these guys. But yeah, that guy's the easiest, I think. And then we have Adelaide here. This one is definitely one of the bigger ones. It's got a 6-inch, 8-inch leaf span on it. Again, flowers coming up. They don't self-pollinate. But this one reminds me a little bit of Drosera regia, the king sundew, but a whole lot easier care. And then schizandra here. These guys I do well with. Again, just in my conditions, they do really well. It's humid, but it's light and airy in here. It's not like it's stuck in a fish tank or a Rubbermaid tub that's like stale and stagnant. They get natural light, and they just seem to do well. As you can see, we got some flowers here, so that's kind of cool. If I had a little paintbrush handy, which I don't, I would try to pollinate these guys, just like cross-pollinate them a little bit. Maybe they are different plants. Everything basically comes out of tissue culture at one point for me, but so I can't guarantee the diversity of the genes. And then we have Andromeda here. That is one I almost lost completely. I find it to be an easier grower than schizandra. Not quite as easy as Adelaide and prolifera, but a nice mix. Doesn't quite get the big lettucey leaves on it. They're a little bit smaller, and you can see they have like the little dew thing itself is got red dots all over it. Schizandra, that kind of does as well. You can see red on that one. You can't on this one. Maybe just because it's a new leaf. But anyways, I just had to repot all those guys too, because like I say, they went crashing down due to old media. They bounced back very strong and healthy, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, they call them the Three Sisters. And they all grow in Australia, but not like some of the other Australian ones. They like it nice and humid and cool. So there we go. If I had to rate them, I would definitely say that this guy is the most challenging. I have lost a few of those guys myself. They will just all of a sudden, poof, they don't like me anymore and go. This was a pot with one in, and all that's left is a bit of a leaf. But you know what? That leaf I'm seeing right there, I left the leaf and it's got a little plant starting on it, so that's good. But anyways, I hope you like this video. Make sure with these guys, you're keeping them cool, you're keeping them humid, you're keeping them in sphagnum moss, not peat moss. Whoops. And yeah, no fertilizer, or very little fertilizer. Just didn't work for me. But we will see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.